Welcome, folks. Today we're diving into a fascinating study about ICT appropriation by Mexican students whose parents are professionals. It explores how parents' jobs influence their kids' ICT skills.
That sounds interesting. So what exactly was the main goal of this research?
Well, the study aimed to understand how parents' occupations affect their children's ICT proficiency in Mexico. It highlights how important these skills are for doing well in school and fitting into society in our increasingly digital world. The researchers wanted to see how parents who use ICT a lot pass those skills and knowledge onto their children.
I see. And how did they go about doing that? What data did they use?
They used data from the PISA 2018 survey. They looked at the answers from 1043 students who had at least one parent working in a professional field. They then used a statistical method called partial least squares structural equation modeling, or PLS-SEM, to analyze the data.
Wow, that sounds complicated. What were some of the key things they measured and analyzed?
They looked at things like how often students used ICT, their skills and independence in using it, and whether ICT was a topic they talked about with others. They also looked at different combinations of parents' jobs, like one parent being a professional and the other having a different job, to see if that made a difference. They even considered how gender roles at home might play a part.
Interesting. Did they find any differences based on the parents' occupations?
Yes, they did. The study found that parents' jobs and their level of education have a big impact on their children's ICT skills and how much they talk about ICT with others. It seems like when one parent is a professional and the other has a white-collar job, the children tend to use ICT more often for all sorts of activities, including school and work. But if the parents have blue-collar jobs, the kids are more likely to use ICT for fun and social stuff.
So it's not just about having a parent in a professional field, but also about the type of work the other parent does?
Exactly. The study suggests that there's a gender division of digital support in the home. For example, they found that professional fathers, especially when paired with mothers who are either white-collar workers or housewives, tend to have a greater impact on their children's ICT skills.
That's quite a nuanced finding. What about the role of mothers? Did their occupations have any specific influence?
Yes, definitely. The study indicated that when mothers work in clerical support or services and sales, their children tend to develop greater autonomy in ICT use. This suggests that mothers with higher ICT use intensity in their jobs can strengthen their children's independence in using technology.
I see. So it's about the parents' engagement with ICT and their own professions influencing their children's skills and usage patterns.
Precisely. The research also pointed out that even when mothers have lower levels of education, their availability for extracurricular activities and their control over digital activities outside of school can significantly boost their children's ICT usage, skills, and autonomy.
That's a really interesting point about the importance of parental involvement, regardless of their educational background.
Absolutely. The study also touched on the differences between white-collar and blue-collar workers. It found that children from white-collar backgrounds tend to use ICT for a wider range of activities, while those from blue-collar backgrounds often focus on recreational and social use.
So, what are the broader implications of these findings? What can we learn from this research?
Well, the study suggests that we need to consider the social and cultural status of parents when we're trying to promote digital inclusion. It also highlights the importance of the gender division of labor in the home and how that affects children's ICT skills. Even in families where the mothers are highly educated professionals, this division still seems to play a role.
That makes sense. It's not just about access to technology, but also about how it's used and supported within the family.
Exactly. The findings suggest that there's a need to reconsider the importance of gender division in domestic support, which appears to be an offshoot of gender division in labor use of ICTs, even in the case of high-level professional mothers.
Did the researchers mention any limitations to their study?
Yes, they did. One limitation was that the differences between the total sample and the group samples might mean they need to study a larger population to get more statistically sensitive results. Also, the study was specific to Mexico, so the findings might not be the same in other countries. They suggested that future research should try to replicate the study in other places to see if the results hold up.
That's a good point. It's important to consider the cultural context when interpreting these kinds of findings.
Definitely. Overall, this study gives us some valuable insights into how parents' jobs and their involvement in their children's lives can shape their ICT skills. It also reminds us that there are complex social and cultural factors at play that we need to consider when we're trying to bridge the digital divide.
I agree. It's a really comprehensive look at the issue, and it highlights the importance of considering the family context when we're thinking about digital literacy.
Well said. It's a complex issue, and this study helps us understand it a little better. Thank you for joining me in this discussion. And thank you, folks, for tuning in. We hope you found this discussion insightful. Until next time, goodbye.